Hello, and welcome to the Adam Kiss Show. I'm Adam Kiss, and today I'm going to be talking with you about a subject that's been on my mind recently, and so I thought, why not make a video about it? But before we do, definitely subscribe to the channel, hit that bell notification so you're updated whenever we upload great new content for you, and follow us on all social media platforms. All right, so let's get into the topic of the cinematic close-up. And close-ups obviously have a long history dating back to the beginnings of cinema itself. Ever since we could record films, basically we've used them. Now, we've used them in different ways. So if you look at movies that are older, from the 30s, 40s, 50s, the main thing you'll see is that close-ups are rare. And by close-ups, I mean like real close-ups. I'm not talking medium shots. Everything wasn't a wide shot in those days. But a close-up, in those earlier days of cinema, even the early days of sound cinema, really meant something. A close-up was a big event. It was during an emotional moment, a big moment, a moment where a character makes a decision that changes the story. It makes a decision that changes their lives. During a very emotional moment for a character, that's when you would see this on the screen. And nowadays, if you look at all the modern movies, TV shows, films, either in the theaters, on any streaming platform, on any kind of TV. Basically, all the scenes are edited together. You might have some establishing shots, some wide shots, maybe some medium shots sprinkled in, but basically you're going to see a conversation, close-up of one person, close-up of that other person, close-up of this person again, close-up of that person again. Maybe it goes even closer this time. Then again, closer, closer. And that's basically how the conversations go, and that's how the scenes go. And obviously there's variations to that, but in a certain way, that's become kind of boring. It's almost like the close-up doesn't mean anything anymore. And I'm not saying I don't love close-ups. I mean, I absolutely love close-ups in films. I'm a filmmaker, I'm a director myself. So I absolutely use them in my recent film, My Last Words, that we're nearing the end of the editing process on that. But then there are other parts of the film, and honestly, most of the film, where I like to get more creative than that. I mean, immediately when I talked with everyone on the crew and everything, and now in post-production, my first word was, let's not cut too much. I just wanted to get back a little bit into that old style, away from all this rapid cutting every 2 seconds that feels like it makes your head spin. Now, we do have moments in the film where we cut every second, even less, where we're doing rapid cutting, and it's, we're just doing a few frames at a time. We've done that as well. I believe in that as well. But I think that variety is really the spice of life, as they say, and the same goes for movies. So I believe that there's absolutely great things in the modern way of doing it, with just the constant cutting back between close-ups in the coverage. And then also I think that it's great, a lot of the older ways they did it, using a lot of wide shots, establishing shots, having a lot of camera movement. Everything was on a crane in those days. The camera was always moving, it seems like. And it's funny that in the modern day, it seems like the camera is so often stationary, even on big budget productions. So that's definitely something I miss. I love long takes. Anyone would tell you that. I love takes that are 2, 3, 4 minutes long without a single cut. I think those are amazing. They can get boring if nothing's happening, but I think that, I've seen scenes where, there's wide shots where nothing's happening, and I mean, things are happening in the scene, but there's no camera movement or anything, and they're absolutely engrossing for 2, 3 minutes, just a wide shot of a scene. I think that, what movies do that? I mean, something like Annie Hall probably springs to mind. There's so many other movies from way before then that would also spring to mind. And nowadays, it's obviously done occasionally for shock value, kind of as a style. But what I love also is when the camera itself is moving, the actors, the actresses in the scene are moving, the camera's moving, everything's moving, and it's kind of this dynamic thing. I mean, people don't think of a movie like Casablanca as being that innovative, but it really was. I mean, it seems innovative, I should say, for our time, because the camera is always moving in that movie, and in so many of those movies, and I feel like we've lost that, and I really wish we would go back to that. I love that. I mean, nowadays we have things like the Steadicam, which they didn't have back then, but I absolutely love using Steadicam. I've used it a lot in my movie, My Last Words, and what I love about that is that the scene is dynamic. The actors are moving, the camera is moving, And sometimes, you can push into a close-up and then you push into the other person, and you can do all that stuff provided, the focus gets down. That's obviously a big issue, getting the focus right and making sure the focus puller, the first AC, is doing great with that. But I mean, so it can be difficult, and perhaps that's one aspect of why it isn't done that often. But it's something that I absolutely love to do. If you look at all those great movies from the 30s, 40s, 50s, you'll notice that a close-up really means something. They're not just used willy-nilly. They're used very sparingly, and whenever you see one, it means something. I mean, all those great directors of the past, that's the way they worked. And the whole reason I did this video is because I love close-ups. I mean, who doesn't love somebody like Sergio Leone? He used so many close-ups, but he still didn't overuse them. I mean, he was known for these extreme close-ups that he did, and these extremely long, drawn-out scenes with these close-ups, but he didn't use them all the time. When he was just doing a typical scene, it wasn't just always, every single time, typical coverage. And I think that, that's something that we can absolutely benefit maybe going back to, make the close-up mean something again. I should have a shirt. Make the close-up mean something again. Yeah, I think I just invented a new phrase. What do you think? Anyway, so if you haven't gathered, I absolutely love close-ups. I think they're a great, powerful tool in cinema. I use them all the time myself. I just think that in order for them to mean something, every single scene shouldn't be just close-up, 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 close-up. So, that's my 2 cents for today on cinema. Thanks so much. Definitely follow me on all social media, and we'll see you next time.